Namaste all. A warm welcome to all of you on behalf of Yoga Bharati to this wonderful evening of Vaikuntha Ekadashi. All the more special is we have Raghuramji with us for this occasion. Let us start the session with the prayer. All of you sit straight. Relax your shoulders. Relax your facial muscles. A smile on your face. Relax your body. Observe your presence in the now, in the present. Let us all chant 3 rounds of Omkara as we exhale. All of you inhale. Om. 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 Namaskaram Mitra. Opening Prarthana. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahi Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vedvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste all. Once again, welcome to the session. We all know that Bhagavan Sri Krishna has given us all the 4 streams of yoga: Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Raja Yoga. But for the understanding of common man, we have Swami Vivekananda, who has given his insights on all these 4 streams of yoga for our understanding, to make it easy for all of us to understand. So we have Raghuramji today giving us the insights on the teachings of Swami Vivekananda. So thank you, Raghuramji, and I hand it over to you.
Thank you, Vidya, and thanks everybody for. I'm very glad that welcome you all on this 2022, the first event of Yoga Bharati. What a beautiful way to start with. That this satsangh, getting together, and so many of you are there, taking time to come and be part of this particular team. I'm so very happy. Particularly that this event has got confluence of 3 important things, which are very significant particularly, and we are waiting that. And the first thing is that, of course, in the year 2022, that itself is a great thing. But the first important thing is that we just had this Swami Vivekananda's birth year, Jayanti, that is 160th Jayanti, on the 12th, that is yesterday. And today happens to be Vaikuntha Ekadashi, is also known as the Moksha Ekadashi. And moksha is supposed to be kaivalya, which is the goal of yoga. And that's what very important thing. And third important thing is tomorrow we are going to step into what is called a Sankranti. And that's also another a wonderful event connected with the nature. On the 14th that we have the Sankranti. So there is a confluence of all these three, like Sangama. It is like the way Sangama of Godavari, I mean Krishna, the Sangam of Ganga, Yamuna, and then Saraswati. Like that, we have all these three things together. That's what makes this particular today's activity very eventful. And let me take up each one of them so that we'll understand very many ideas about that. The first thing is that I would like to give the idea of this Margashirsha, which is supposed to be the month. It's also known as Magishai, and so many other names are there depending upon the local languages. That means to say this mantra, this month, according to the Indian calendar, is something which is very important, unique for every part of the particular culture. And this is the day when we have this 11th day, Ekadashi. And today is the day, it's supposed to be also known as Vaikuntha Ekadashi. That means to say the doors of Vaikuntha is open, the God's abode is open for us. In fact, in Tirupati, that they have one Vaikuntha Dwara, there is a door for that, and then today that's open so that people will go there. That is the significance of this particular thing that they think. But the Puranic story shows that we always say that, Krishna is named as Murari and all that. That is basically the Rakshasa Mura has been eliminated by Vishnu, and that's why he's known as Murari. And particular thing about the Mura Rakshasa is that Vishnu was resting, and then Mura Rakshasa came and disturbed. And at that time, actually, the female aspect of Vishnu comes and slays Mura. So therefore, this Murari it is known as. And the significance of that is that Mura is not anywhere from outside. It's only within us. And it is these Arishad Vargas that are there, all the different various forces that are there within us, diverting us that. And in order to overcome that this particular women force is something which has really helped to see that we come out of it. So it is basically conquering oneself. That's what is significance of this Vaikuntha Ekadashi, because that we want to conquer the forces that are there within, and therefore that the practice is also like that. That means to say today we are not supposed to eat the food. It is fasting day. In fact, in Shiva's name, there are a lot of fasting people do it, but in Vishnu's name, that's the only time where that fasting has been given. And after that, tomorrow, Dwadashi is supposed to be an extraordinary day where we celebrate with the help of a lot of nice, wonderful food and then wonderful life. So these are the things which are significance of this particular Vaikuntha Ekadashi, that people who are there in the places where there is Vishnu temples are there, they make it a point to see that they visit Vishnu's temple and then pay their respects to that Vishnu. It's a very pleasant time that we have. People definitely visit Badrinath, Kedarnath, and all those things where that they have facility for that. This is the Vaikuntha Ekadashi. Second thing is about the way that Sankranti. Kranti is a revolution, and what we have just simple Sankranti, it is not that. It's supposed to be Sankranti. That means to say there's a total phase change that's going to take place. That is basically a festival of harvesting, festival of all the cows and this and that. Such a beautiful way that they do it. The earth is decorated with the kolam during that time. Large columns will be presented, and then particularly there are places where they try to dance in the name of the crops and the name of the harvest and all that. So it's a very extraordinary, wonderful, significant event that Sankranti is. And together with that, all this is basically about this culture, which is there for 10,000 years or more than that. And this country has that culture, but unfortunately what happened for almost like 1,000 years, we have been invaded and enslaved by the people. Though we never conquered, we never used our force anywhere else. In fact, wherever, whoever comes to us, we welcome them. We actually integrated them into us. And that's how Parsis have come, and then we have integrated them. Many people that we could do that. But some people have taken advantage of that, wrong advantage of that. And that's when they went on destroying our culture. And how much they have done it with all those things, invasions and all that. In spite of it, this culture survived, the practices survived, and the rituals have survived. That shows what is the depth of this particular culture. In fact, I was I've got some friends in Pakistan and Afghanistan and some other places also. Whenever I talk to them, then I said about Mahabharata war and Bhagavad Gita, Krishna and Ramayana. I give some examples of that. I always tell that it's really happened 5,000 years ago, 7,000 years ago and all that. They'll be simply surprised. They said that we don't have anything that we can say beyond about 70, 80 years, 100 years. In fact, when I was in USA, in some place I went there, McAllen, and there they showed a very special building, and then people have gone on tour. And what is that building? It's a 100-year-old building. It is the oldest building in this particular place. I laughed. My grandfather's house is 100-year-old. So that means in India, 100 years is not old, it's very young. And with that kind of background we had it, we go to any temple, any place in India, it is 600, 700, 1,000, 1,500 years old. So that means say we have such a strong, deep culture within us. In fact, there's one thing that we need to understand: where the roots are deep, the tree is not shaken. Where the roots are not there, that's where basically the tree will be very loose. And that's what the cultures where the roots are not there. They can go back to about, Pakistan, 70 years, 80 years culture, and Afghanistan, hardly anything. So when this is what they were talking to me, saying that you always talk about culture, which is any reference that you give 5,000, 7,000 years, what do we do? I said that, look, just don't get stuck to the political, geographical kind of a boundary. You think that you are also part of the Akhanda Bharat. Then you can take this culture forward. And you also belong to the same culture, what I'm talking about. Because then, we talk about Sindhu, we talk about Takshila, they're all there in your place. And then you have given us all those things. So we have all together that we had this kind of a thing. They are very happy culturally that we can always accept. Let the politicians think of a different way. They were very happy about that. In fact, the Buddha statues that were there in Bahmani's kingdom in Afghanistan, they were icons actually at one particular point of time. So therefore, that means that we're all one. So this concept of we're all one is something which is from the Indian culture that is there. But this thought can be there only when the Indian culture has find its recognition. And this journey for recognition is paved way by Swami Vivekananda for us. And that is why Vivekananda is something that we need to really remember. It's an extraordinary, wonderful person, that is Vivekananda. In fact, when we all know that he is the one who made his presence at the Parliament of World Religions in 1893. And that is when the September 11th at the Parliament of World Religions, the newspapers that time quoted about Swami Vivekananda saying, here is an orator he's an orator by divine right, and undoubtedly the greatest figure at the parliament. Like this American papers quote about him, who was not known even for a moment that before that. So and Vivekananda himself said about yoga, he brought about the concept of yoga at that time, saying that through practice comes yoga, and through yoga comes knowledge, and through knowledge, love, and love takes us towards bliss. This is what is the thought that Vivekananda has given. And another very important thing at that point of time, when he returned to India, he said that the Hindu has to have self-pride. Then only the world will become benefited by this particular knowledge. That is what he has created. Imagine the jocularly or humorously I tell, there are three Narendras who really took yoga to the world around. The first Narendra is Narendra Shiva, and he was the person who gave yoga to Parvati. That's what the reference comes. Yoga text that Parvati, Shiva gave the teaching to Parvati, that became the Yoga Upanishad and yoga text and all those things. That's legendary thing. And the second Narendra is Narendranath Datta, Vivekananda, at the Parliament of World Religions, as the first person who talked about yoga, who quoted about yoga, and he introduced to the world the idea of yoga. And then the third person that we have is Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, who has taken it to the next level. That's what is UNO. He introduced Yoga Day. Thereby, he introduced this yoga to the world over. But then there is another very other side of all these three persons, though these are the three persons who have similar difficulties also. Like, for example, the first Narendra, that is Mahashiva Rudra Narendra, he did such a wonderful job. But then what happened? That when he went to his father-in-law's place, he was not recognized. And his wife got humiliated. So therefore, that he entered into the fire, sati has taken place. So he went into the trouble. Second Narendra, when you think of it, Narendranath Datta, Vivekananda, he heard that Parliament of World Religions take place in USA. And then he went all embarked on that. And when he heard that, it was in the month of April. So April, he was there in USA. Imagine what happened. And he went to Chicago in the month of April, directly went to the place of Parliament of World Religions. And they said that the Parliament has been postponed to September. It's not there now. And then now he is in April, till September he has to wait, the cold winter. A yogi has gone like in a yogi dress. You can just imagine what will happen to his flight in Chicago. And second thing is that they said that you cannot be even a speaker because that all that list has been finalized. So therefore that you do not have a place to even be there as a audience. He was desperate. He said, I don't know why I have come here. But then somebody suggested him, you seem to be intellectual. So why don't you go to Boston? I went to Boston, and with the help of one of the professors there, I'll cut down the whole story short. And then he recommended him, saying that here is a man and who is fit to be in Parliament of World Religions, asking him to show the credentials, asking son the credentials to shine. So that was the kind of introduction that person has given. And with that, Swamiji, last moment entered into the Parliament. And there also that he was just dodging himself. He was there in the front row. He moved along with all the speakers. He occupied there and the front seat. And then the organizers, they came and then made all the arrangements and all that. Actually, there is something which is behind this Parliament of World Religions, why it all started. During the time, 1893 was the time when America came up with two most important, significant inventions. And one is the motor car, and the other is the incandescent bulb. So they wanted to introduce these two things to the public. So they wanted to have a World Trade Fair where they wanted to showcase these things. But at that time, Christian missionaries thought that is the time that we also have this Parliament of World Religions, where several Christian speakers will be there all the days, and then number of them. And we will call one person here, one person there from various religions and show the supremacy of Christianity to the world. So this was the plan, very clearly planned out. And when they wanted to have that, but unfortunately what happened is this bulb project got delayed. And when it got delayed, they found out that the project will be ready, the product will be ready by September. So the World Trade Fair was shifted to September. Therefore, this Parliament of World Religions was also shifted to September. So imagine what happened was basically the Parliament was meant for a different purpose. And then there were speakers from various other places, disciplines and all that, and Swamiji also entered there. And after going there, the organizers, they made an announcement to Swamiji saying that announcement saying that this is the Parliament and then where all the religions are here assembled and all that. And then they were, one after the other, these great Christian leaders were coming and giving their talk. While giving their talk, they were saying that man is a sinner, and then therefore the savior that they wanted to have, Jesus was a savior, the only savior who has come to save us. So like that, various denominations were saying that you are sinners and the savior is Jesus Christ, and we are the agents of that savior. When this was being bombarded to the audience again and again by various speakers, after about few speakers, then they came to Vivekananda and asked him, the organizers, Dr. Barros, he came to Vivekananda and asked him, so Swamiji, next is your turn. Swamiji said, not now. He was shocked, surprised, because Swamiji was not prepared for a speech. Then, after another couple of speakers, he came to Swamiji now, but he denied again. Then again, surprised, it looks like that Swamiji was afraid. Actually, some people have concluded that way, because Swamiji himself has written later on to Alasinga Peruman saying that all the other speakers, they had prepared speeches, well written, well articulated, and all those things they were presenting it. Swamiji himself has written there to Alasinga Peruman, I didn't even know what I'm going to speak. I don't have a speech which is ready. So people thought, because Swamiji expressed like that, he was nervous there. And second thing is that all that audience, they are speaking in English, and then he is a person from a downtrodden country. 1857 war, we had lost badly, that is Jhansi Lakshmi, and it is 1893, it's not even 50 years. So therefore you can just imagine what must be the psyche of the people from this country at the lowest ebb. And Swamiji was representing that. So people thought that Swamiji has become nervous, Swamiji has become very this thing. But these were not the reasons. These were not at all the reasons. But what is that Swamiji hesitated? Why he was not speaking? That's a real mystery. But then, most important thing is that finally when organizers said, Swamiji, now it is the last turn for you. Then he stood up, walked onto the podium, and then stood there and then said, my dear sisters and brothers of America. That's all he said. And with that, there was thunderous applause. People stood on their feet, and then for almost like a moment, 2 minutes, deafening applause. After that, they settled down. That means Swamiji, all that he said is, my dear sisters and brothers of America, looking at the sea of audience who were there, 7,000 people. That's all he said. And later on, he gave a wonderful speech. The speech is extraordinary. But then, look at the way that he was received. And later on, the press also found that he was so extraordinary. And they had put the headlines saying that Swamiji became popular at Parliament. So headlines were wonderful. After that, when they wanted to write the content of it, they were shocked. They were surprised what to write the content, because the people have applauded because even Swamiji spoke. So they have to give some reason or the other why Swamiji was applauded. So somebody said his dress was beautiful. I mean, it was not a fashion parade. Why somebody's dress has to be commented? But then people wrote yellow orbs and then that, snuff color thing that he was wearing, that was extraordinary. Some people commented his voice. His was a very metallic voice. Yes, he had a beautiful voice. But then what happened? He's an Oriental, and he's giving a speech in English. And what is that which can mesmerize them? And somebody said his figure was beautiful, therefore that people applauded. But these were not the reasons. But some newspaper even made a mistake of saying that he spoke well, therefore they applauded. But actually he spoke after that they applauded. Later on also they applauded, but that was the thing. Organizers were so impressed by Swamiji, they said that any session the next few days, whatever the sessions were going on, it was not attended by people. They used to make an announcement. After this speaker, next speaker will be Vivekananda, so that people would group to the seats. That means not only that he was applauded, but he was attracted by everybody in the audience so that they could maintain themselves. So what is that which made Swamiji so great in the parliament? And you find out that you don't really can think of it what must have been. Some people even said that mystified way, saying that yes, it is the divine grace that Swamiji presented that really made people attracted towards him. But let's not go into that idea. Let's try to understand what Swamiji was really there and applauded. The reason for Swamiji's applause, it is connected with whatever that Swamiji spoke earlier. Swamiji thought about all these speeches, earlier speeches, and which he wrote to Alasinga Peruman. Actually, that letter Swamiji has written, and a couple of letters by Mary Louis Burke, who was there in the audience, and Christina, who was also there in the audience. Their writings will give us the idea of what made Swamiji, first of all, hesitate, what made Swamiji to be applauded. All those things we can understand that. Whenever the people were coming and then saying that you're all the sinners, and then Jesus is a savior, or the messenger is a savior, and all those things, Swamiji could not agree with that, because this is not what he learned in the name of religion. What he learned in the name of religion is that we are all sons of immortality. We are all directly descendants of God. Every child born especially is gifted by the God and sent to this world. So therefore we are like that. It's not because of some sinner, because of some sin that we have done. So this is how basically Vivekananda could not agree with that. In fact, when he was a child, that he heard from his mother that, look, we are all the sons of divinity. That's what he heard. And then when his teachings also that he was learning, that's what is the one that he has said. And Upanishads talking about Aham Brahmasmi, I'm the Brahman. This is what Swamiji was convinced about it. Not only that, he remembered Shankaracharya when he was, walking in the streets of Kashi, and then there was a Mlecha who comes and in his path, and people around him, they said, come on, move, because this Swamiji is coming and you are untouchable. Immediately that fellow stood strong and then said, who is untouchable? You are untouchable, I am untouchable. Who is untouchable? Am I this body? His body is untouchable. You consider that you are not the body, but you are the consciousness. And consciousness does not have anything like touchability, untouchability kind of a thing. When Swamiji was countered by, when Shankaracharya was countered by this person, immediately Chandala, immediately Shankaracharya just touched his feet and said, we are all Brahman. When this was practical lesson that Swamiji has learned, when Swamiji learned during his process, when he was a student at the feet of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, one day Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said that we must tolerate every religion. After that, as if something stuck in his head, that Thakur Ramakrishna Paramahamsa goes into Samadhi, and 15-20 minutes of Samadhi, then he comes out of Samadhi. Everybody is eagerly waiting for the message of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa when he comes out of Samadhi, because he comes that divinity. And then with a smile, pleasant, divine smile on his face, Thakur said, what did I say? We must tolerate every faith and religion. No, Divine Mother says, that means in a Samadhi, the goddess Devi appeared to him and then said, it is not to tolerate, but it is to accept. Wow. Then they immediately they dispersed. When they dispersed, Swamiji came outside, sat under the tree. Obviously, though he was a young boy, everybody would sit around him. He was obvious leader at that time. So they all sat around him, and Swamiji said, what a wonderful message Thakur has given us. They said, what is the message? Then Swamiji said, you also heard the message, not only me. They did not say that it is not to tolerate, but it is to accept. Then they said, what is the big deal? Tolerate or accept? What is the big difference? Hare, don't you understand the importance of it? I tolerate means anyway you are bad, but I am so good. That means I certify myself. I'm so good that I tolerate you. Whereas the moment I say accept it, you are also great, I am also great, whatever that is there. And you have some problems, I also some difficulties. So therefore that we are like equal. So acceptance is something which is no complaint at all. That's something which is rising above that level. Oh, you make a philosophy of everything. That's what they didn't even understand, Vivekananda. But that is what he felt at the parliament, saying that How can I say that you are sinners? We are saints. I can accept you. And similarly, that there was another incident that we had, remembered that when he was in the Darbar of, the Rajasthan, uh, and where the king was having some celebration, something like that, his brother's wedding. And naturally, the celebration always used to have some dance, some Nach girl, some Vaishya came and she was dancing. And then before that, Swamiji had to talk and he gave the talk. Everybody was there, 3,000 people were there, and then they listened to his talk. After that, the dance girl was invited. She came onto the stage. Swamiji thought that I'm a sannyasin sitting here. What do I have to do with the dance girl? So he retired into the ante room that's next to it. This dance girl came there, looked around. Naturally, in the dance tradition, that you offer your prayers to the God and godlike person like Guru and the king, she turned to the chair of Swami Vivekananda, but that was empty. It shook her, and immediately she felt so hurt deep in her heart, and they sang loud the song of Mirabai, Prabhuji Mera Avaguna Chitana Dharo, Samadarishi Hai Naam Tiharo. See, you were here sitting when everybody was there, you could sit here. But just because that I came, dance girl, a Vaishya, and then you went inside, that means you discriminate against me. Samadarishi Hai Naam Tiharo. Your name is supposed to be your equal at everything. And why did you discriminate me? I am low and you are high. These people can see you, but I can't see you. And that touched Swamiji at his heart. And he immediately came running outside and bowed down in front of lady, dance lady, and said, Mother, you have opened my eyes. This is the message that rung in his ears when he was at the Parliament of World Religions. How can I accept that you are low and we are high? And therefore, but then, extraordinary thing is that he cannot go onto the stage and say that, look, all these other speakers are wrong. I am right. Because he's not come there to put down the other speakers. But then without hurting them, how can he say something that can really feel that everybody is integrated together? That feeling was there within him, and such a wonderful, deep feeling of love, oneness, which has no words. That's what Narada says. Anirvachaniyam prema swarupam. Love cannot be expressed. Such a great love that Swamiji felt for them, there are no words to express. But then organizers want him to speak there. At that time, he stood there, looked at the whole audience. Even at that time, he didn't know what he's supposed to speak. All that he remembered was that for a mother, two children are equal, whether somebody is sick or somebody is healthy, both of them are equal. Somebody intelligent or unintelligent, both of them are equal. So he remembered that mother force, and that's what is Sharda Devi. And that Sharda, Saraswati, she is the mother of words. And with that, she looked around and he said, my dear sisters and brothers of America, those words are absolutely, totally loaded with that feeling that he had of love. This is what is acknowledged by the people who are sitting in the audience, Mary Louise Burke and then Christina, they write. And all the other speakers we were listening, we were feeling as if the more and more that we hear, we were in a low abyss. And then the speakers are so high above on the audience, on the stage. We can never reach them on the podium. Forget about reaching the God. Even these people we cannot reach. So we were feeling so low. At that point of time when Swamiji came and looked at us with the loving eyes and with a beautiful melodious voice, he said, my dear sisters and brothers of America, we felt he directly touched our heart. It was like the way land which is perched with the rain for several seasons. Now you have the first few drops of rain falling on the heart, the kind of the quench that is there. That's what we felt. So Swamiji did not say, but he connected with them out of love. That is what was the Kutumbakam. That's what is the purpose of yoga. That is what is the message Swamiji has given. So extraordinary, wonderful person. In fact, when we think of Swamiji, there are so many things he has given. Today, what we are, it's all because all our leaders were inspired by Swamiji Vivekananda. It is not for today that Swamiji's message is, but it is for the next 1,000 years that we have to carry on that. This culture, indebted to Swami Vivekananda, we're all indebted to that. That's the reason why we have this Vivekananda Yoga Research Foundation. We are associated with that. So Yoga Bharati, we are for that. Now the whole idea is to see that when the leaf level, two leaves are separate, different. Whereas the moment that you go to deeper level, the moment that you go to the stem, that means both the leaves are from the same building. It's same branch, same tree. It is like the way two fingers for the hand. Whereas further you go deep into the tree, trunk, all the branches are nothing but belong to the same tree. Go further down deep into the earth. From the same earth, all these trees are coming up. Like that, when you go deeper and deeper inside, we get connected to each other. That going deep inside is the purpose of meditation. Don't be at the surface level where the boundaries are there. Let's go beyond the boundaries. That's what is the purpose of meditation. And you cannot go in the world outside with the help of your senses, because the senses only separate them. You go deep inside. Like the way they say, objects are different when you look at from outside. When you close your eyes, inside they're all one and the same darkness. Light separates, but the darkness is one and the same thing. The sounds are separate, but the silence is one and the same thing. So let's go to the deeper and deeper silence. Let's go to the deeper and deeper aspect of us. And that's what is the purpose of meditation, idea of meditation. So on this wonderful day, this new generation, new creation, that is Sankranti, that we need to bring about. And then the heaven, that is the Vaikuntha, that is there, not anywhere else, that's there deep within us. And entering into that Vaikuntha, entering into that abode of God within us, that's what Patanjali says, Ishvara Pranidhanatva. Who is that Ishvara? He is there within us. Klesha karma vipaka shayahi parabrishtaha Purusha Vishesha Ishvaraha. We have that Purusha Vishesha within us, which is covered by Klesha, Karma, all those things which are disturbing us. Try to go deep inside. That Ishvara, that Vaikuntha, and that divinity within us is the way that yoga helps us to do, go deep inside. For the next about 20 minutes, we have about 15 minutes, we can sit for meditation. Let me give a simple idea about meditation. As Shankaracharya gives, there are three things which can help us the meditation. One is the nama and the rupa, and third is the karma. These are the three things. Nama, rupa, karma are the supports. Nama is the name or the sound, and one sound that can help us is the sound of Om. You can say for yourself, but merge into that sound Om. That sound Om takes you to the silence. A simple logistic is that inhale while exhaling, 3/4 of exhalation say Om, and 1/4 is that silence. Try to merge yourself into that silence. This Aum is a ladder which takes you to that silence, is the escalator which can take you to that silence. So that silence is the most important thing. Similarly, picture. You can imagine the picture of Om, picture of a light in front of you, which takes you towards that deep inner darkness that is there. So let's go to that state. And that inner space is where love, compassion, and also the bliss, all these things are there within us. And that, let us become one with that, with the help of this meditation. So I'll be giving instructions. You can just follow for yourself. Nama, Rupa, and then Karma. The Karma aspect is that the respiration, you can even hold on to the respiration because that's the nearest Karma that we have within us, the Prana Karma. And there, after exhalation, before inhalation, the gap that is there is a Kevala Sthiti. Patanjali gives us, that's a quiet state within us. That quiet state between the exhalation and inhalation is the quiet state after the Om into the silence, or the darkness that the light merges us into. So let us make use of that silence within. Try to reach there with the help of meditation. Sit comfortably so that once you look at the body in a relaxed way, body doesn't hold you for ransom. Sit comfortably, peacefully. Have a pleasant face. No agitations in the mind. Leave them alone. You are going to make a very sacred journey into that Vaikuntha within you. Relax the whole body. Normal, relaxed breathing. Observe the breathing. When we say relax the body, you let loose, let go. No hold anywhere in the body. The same way, no hold anywhere in the respiration. Inhaling, transition, exhaling. After exhaling, kevala sthiti, a gentle state. Recognize these four states. Breathing ways going on its own. Prana is responsible for breathing. After the exhalation, before the inhalation, observe that kevala sthiti, quiet state. No pressure of prana is there. Identify yourself with that quiet state, kevala sthiti. Exhalation, inhalation are going on either side. Like the wings of the bird is in between. And the wings take the bird high in the sky. Your exhalation and inhalation take you above the matter, deeper and deeper. Imagine a beautiful flame in front of your mental eye. The lower end of the flame is matter. Higher end of the flame is the space. You are the space. You are the silence. Let's merge the mind into silence with the help of Aum. Om. While exhaling, let us sing comfortably Om. 3/4 of exhalation, Aum. 1/4 silence. Again, inhale. Third round, inhale. Subtler to much subtler level, mentally unuttered way, sing Aum, which takes you to much deeper inner silence. The flame is also known as Om, and the Om uses the breath so that the flame goes to sky, space, breath goes to no breath state, prana goes to kevala, and then you become expansive inside. They're all same thing expressed at various levels. One more time. Let me sing three Omkaras loud, gentle, taking you to deeper silence, space, and the blissful state. Oh. Inhale. Oh. One more round. Inhale. Ah. You are not the body, you are not the prana. For the prana, body is the sharira. For the manas, prana is the sharira. For the vijnana, manas is the sharira. For ananda, vijnana is the sharira. For the Brahman, for the Atman, for you, vijnana is the sharira. Ananda is the sharira outside. Very deep within. Join the hands at the heart center in Namaskara Mudra. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Warm up the palms. Palm the eyes and the face gently. Slowly open your eyes. Look at the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghuramji. That was amazing to listen to Swami Vivekananda. How much ever is being spoken about him is not enough. We just want to keep listening to you about him. The dhyana was very, very calming. Thanks a lot for giving us the dhyana. Now, anybody has any questions, kindly post it on the chat box. Also, you can put it on the YouTube live chat. I'll share it with Raghuramji.
Nice comments. Thanks for all the comments in the chat box.
Yes, beyond boundaries meditation.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Lovely.
Wonderful. Okay. Any questions anyone has?
I think they merged into silence. Questions are silenced. Tejasvi, thank you so much. Today we are able to do all those things because 100 years ago, 160 years ago, Vivekananda he gave us all these things. That's the most wonderful thing.
Prabha has a question. Can you explain Ananda? Ananda.
Sharira. Oh,
Sharira.
okay. Yes. See, actually, I just want to say thank you. Nothing can, okay. Oh, Meenakshi, what a lovely thing after such a long time getting connected with you. Yes, the whole idea is that we think that the eyes are seeing. Eyes are not seeing. But then it looks like that it is the mind which is, prana which is seeing. So therefore for prana, eyes is the body. But then prana itself will not see because that mind directs the prana to see. Therefore, when you think of mind, the sharira is supposed to be prana and also the body. So that way, when you look at it, basically all this information that mind has. Intellect is the one which uses. So for intellect, mind is a tool in the intellect's hand. So therefore, it's supposed to be like the eyes, prana, and the mind. It's all like tool in the hands of intellect. But then all these things essentially is for the bliss experience. That's why Anandamaya Kosha. He calls it as Kosha. Kosha means another sheath. So who is wearing that sheath? Who is wearing this as a Sharira? And Shariri is there behind it. Atma is the one who is looking at all those things, and you are the Atma. You are that Sakshi. So with that idea, that Atman, for Atman, all these things are supposed to be Sharira. And that Atman is same as Brahman. So it is that Brahman, it is that Atman who is doing all that. And Atman we think is something which is separate. No, Atma basically means I. The same me, when I say I am talking, means basically that I is nothing but Atma which is talking. That's the idea. Therefore, all these things are supposed to be Sharira for that.
Thank you, Raghuramji. Bala has a question. Can you suggest a simple practice that can be done every day so that the rest of the day we go around?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any of these things which I was, I mentioned these three things that are there. In your practice, you can design your own practice having three things in that. One is called as Nama, other is Rupa, and the other is Karma. These three things in some form or the other, you just put a combination of that. It will work for you. Nama can be, you can sing some, you can play some bhajans, can be involved in that. Rupa can be, if you're really in touch with, you see, those days when I was very deeply meditating, Buddha's picture was something which was inducing in me that peace. Don't care for whatever it is. Some people even asked question me saying that, are you Buddhist? I said, no, I'm a human being. That's a simple thing. So similarly, karma. The karma, I don't come across any other thing other than respiration. The beautiful way that it can take us to, or maybe you can even, there is one suggestion which one of the meditation practices say that you move the prana with your intention. So prana is actually representation of karma. So therefore you can possibly look at the prana activity and then go beyond. So these are the things we can design yourself. So
Raghuramji, I have a question. Is there a time limit for how long we should be sitting for dhyana?
There is no time limit. Actually, not only there is no time limit, we try to practice a number of times in the sense that wherever there is a small little gap, just be there. And that moment you try to turn inwards. That's a simple thing. And it can be 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it can be anything. It doesn't matter. Any particular activity you're doing, you have at least in between that you can just get into yourself.
Okay.
That's right.
Thank you.
Somebody asked a question.
Yeah. Is it wrong to only use Om and not other deity forms for meditation?
Oh, anything is fine. In fact, Patanjali gives us that license. He says, whatever that you feel like anything, it can be yatha abhimata dhyanatva. Abhimata, that means say whatever that you really feel comfortable with, just hold on to it. It need not be only the deities. It can be nature, it can be a bird, it can be something. Particularly, I would suggest young mothers. Beautiful thing is look at the child's face. So lovely. Just takes you, transports you into a different world.
Prabha has asked, moving the prana is like rotation of consciousness activity.
Yeah, it is all the same thing actually. Activity is done by the same eye. So it is there. From that, you see that who is rotating the prana, who is moving the prana. So you just go back to the self.
On YouTube as well, many have express that thank you to you.
Oh, thank you.
Meditation was superb. What a soothing experience.
Mm,
Thank you, Raghuramji, is what many people have written.
so much.
Any other
Lovely.
questions? Wanted to hear more and more. Meditation was absolutely beautiful. Okay, thanks.
Mm.
Annie.
One thing is that we should recognize that as long as that we are at the surface level, we feel this separation. The moment we go deep inside, the world is one. Thank you.
Thank you. We shall end with the Shanti mantra, Raghuramji. Sorry. One other question. Sometimes when body is not well, silence of the mind is tough, isn't it? Is what Prabha asked.
Definitely. That's in fact first objection that is says klesha. Klesha is the one which prevents us from deep inside is vyati. Second is thana. Like that he says. Vyati is one of the kleshas. So that's the reason why we
Raghuramji, you are muted. Kindly unmute. Yeah, sorry.
at least
Yeah.
in the beginning that we need to see that healthy way. But one thing is that whenever you're not having good health, don't try for meditation. On the other hand, you can listen to some bhajans and bhakti aspect of it. That's very nice. There are other practices.
Thanks a lot, Raghuramji. All of you. We shall end the session with Shanti mantra. Let us be grateful for the opportunity we have got this evening for a wonderful satsang. Join your palms. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet Om Shanti Shanti Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om. May the dawn of Uttarayan bring positivity to the entire universe. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Raghuramji.
Thank you, Raghuramji. Thank you so much.
Lovely.
Thank you, Vidyaji.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you so
all.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Suma. Thank you.
Lot.
everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Chandrika. Thank you, Meenakshi ji.
Thank you.
I'll end the meeting.